Right, Bismillah. So now we'll talk about how we go about naming molecular compounds. And remember, as we said, molecular compounds are compounds that are made up of non-metals and non-metals. These are different than ionic compounds or inorganic compounds, which had metal and non-metal. So these are molecular compounds that are made up of metal, non-metal, and non-metal. An example of a molecular compound would be, for example, CO2, right? So we know carbon is a non-metal and oxygen is a non-metal. So how do we name things like these? So rules again are very simple. You first name this first guy here, which is carbon, so just write carbon. And here is oxygen. Now we have two of these, so we have to say di, right? And then oxygen, just like the ionic compound, right? So if you have oxygen, you take the root word, right, ox, and then you add the word ide. Likewise, in this case, we have carbon dioxide, right? So CO2 is called carbon dioxide. Alright, so another example of a compound would be, for example, N2O5. Again, nitrogen is here and oxygen. They're both non-metals, and hence this is a molecular compound. So the way we name it, this is nitrogen, so we say nitrogen, right? And this is oxide, so we say oxide. But in this case, we look at how many of these do we have. So we have 2 nitrogen, so we say dinitrogen, and we have 5 oxygen, we say pentaoxide. So the name would be dinitrogen pentaoxide. Alright, now just one more point on this compound we talked about, CO2. And we said the way we name it, we say carbon dioxide, right? Now please note there's a 1 here, and we don't say monocarbon. We don't say monocarbon, right? This we don't say. We say simply carbon dioxide. We don't say, so if there is a 1 here, we do not say mono. But if there is a 1 on the second here, then we do. So an example of that, for example, CO. In this case, the way we do it, this is carbon, so we simply say carbon. And in this case, we say oxide. But again, we see how many do we have here? It's only 1. In this case, we say carbon monoxide, right? So please make sure you understand this. The mono is used for the second atom, not for the first one, right? So we say carbon monoxide and not monocarbon monoxide, just carbon monoxide. So the mono is only used for the second atom, but not for the first one. Alright, so let's do one more example. CCl4. Again, very simply, this is carbon. Again, we do not say mono. This is carbon, and this is chloride, right? But again, we have to look carefully. How many do we have? We have 4, and so we have to use the word tetra, right? So we say carbon tetrachloride. This is the name for this molecular compound. Okay, so we have to know these numerical prefixes. If we have 1 atom of something, it's mono, 2 becomes di, 3 is tri, 4 is tetra, 5 is penta, 6 is hepta, 7 is hepta, 8 is octa, 9 is nona, and 10 is deca. So for example, if you have something like P2O5, 5, for example, then this could be called, right, you have two of them, so we'll say di. P is phosphorus, so we say diphosphorus. And then you have 5 of this, so you say penta, and then you say oxide, right? So diphosphorus pentaoxide.